Disney Pictures presents this summer's best movie, Hercules.
I got it. I got the concept.
It's gallons of fun with non-stop hilarity.
Whoa, is my hair out?
Hercules delivers big time.
I haven't seen this much love in a room since Narcissus discovered himself.
Baby.
Don't miss the most entertaining movie of the year,
We dance, we kiss, we schmooze, we carry on, we go home happy. What do you say?
Hercules. Now playing at a theater near you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinema Arcade. This is the podcast about movies, video games, and the sparks that fly when those worlds collide. My name is Hercules. Oh, sorry, it's actually Steve Guntley. And today we're talking about the movie Hercules, the 1997 Disney version that just brings me so much joy. And who is joining us here today, as always?
I'm a lady from ancient Greece.
You're very nonchalant about revealing this information. You're clearly a time traveler.
I'm pretty fucked.
Yeah.
She's reincarnated, just like in The Mummy.
Oh, okay. I thought we were out of the Mummy, but it keeps pulling us right back in.
Pulling us right back in.
Yeah.
I'm J-Ban, short for Jennifer.
Oh, yeah. You rarely reveal that your J-Ban is not your given birth name. People might not realize that, but it is in fact a nickname. And who else is joining us here using his full legal name, social security number, and mother's maiden name?
I'm pretty sure my name's Panic.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's funny? I
think
don't
of the
know
two,
your
you are
mother's
Panic.
maiden name, and that
Let's
makes
not
me
say it on air.
No, we're not. But I'm just like, that's suspicious.
It's Irish.
Yeah.
Callahan.
No.
Oh,
No,
Callahan.
But when you hear it, you go, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Irish.
Oh, Flannery McPotatoson. That's it.
Yeah, McPotatoson.
McPotatoson.
It's a common Irish surname.
Oh, yes, from the Cork County McPotatosons. Yes, I apologize to everybody. I'm being so racist already. And that's not my intention, because today we're talking about Disney's Hercules, a movie that I think is a absolute delight. And this is a J-Band's pick, a classic
It is a
JBP. Why did you make this your JBP?
I was really torn between John Wick and Hercules because I like to pick a movie that I haven't seen 1,000 times
Okay.
for my J-Band picks. I also would have picked one that I feel that's charming, that doesn't start a series.
Yeah.
And I really like. I feel like Hercules came out. I was very charmed by it, but it's like I really like it, but I just wonder. It's like it's a big mystery to me about why it wasn't a bigger hit.
Right.
Like it was an absolute hit. It just wasn't a Lion King level hit. You know what I mean?
I was telling Steve that when I was younger, we watched a lot of the Disney movies, but I don't have good memory of my childhood, so most of it's gone. But I could still pick out like characters from them that like I know of. Whereas
Yeah.
Hercules, like there was like no trace of any hint of something recognizable that I had.
That's surprising.
Which like I think I might not have seen Hercules, but there was also like, you know, with all these other ones, you have like notable characters that kind of hit pop culture and are like known in some way, shape, or form. And in this case, I was like, oh no.
I mean, this is one of those cases where the age differences between our three hosts here like make a big difference, because
I was 2 when this came out.
Yeah, you were basically a toddler, and J-Ban and I would have been going into high school, right? Middle school?
13.
Yeah, middle school. So like we're getting to the point where like Disney Channel or Disney movies are starting to feel like something we shouldn't be caught dead in, you know? We should be seeing something cool.
I don't know. I was never that way. I was like, I fucking love animation.
Yeah.
J-Ban was always a dork.
No, I mean,
I'm a nerd. Thank you very much. I am a nerd.
Okay.
And if I don't go on a tangent about ancient Greek mythology, then
I mean, that's definitely going to happen in this episode. And this is, I suspect part of the reason why you chose this one is so that you could be afforded that runway, and I will grant it to you. But yeah, I think this is one of those ones when I'm being a shitty little kid, like I thought I was too cool to watch this. And weirdly, I'm coming to realize that some of my favorite Disney animated movies are the ones that were in that pocket. So like this movie and Lilo and Stitch are now two of like my very favorite Disney animated films. And they're both movies I thought I was too good for or too mature or too cool or
We did
whatever.
Lilo and Stitch.
We did
Sure
Lilo and
did.
Stitch.
Okay.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I watched that movie a lot when I was a kid. So.
Yeah. But this one has kind of grown on me over time, and now it's like, I mean, it's such. I mean, I think this is often dismissed as kind of like a lesser Disney movie because it was coming in the height of like the Disney Renaissance, and it was coming off of a series of like really serious, like awards baity kind of Disney movies, and this one feels like a confection by comparison. But I think that's kind of what makes it special. Like looking at it now, I'm like, it's kind of candy coated, it's kind of silly, but it's just pure entertainment.
At the same time, it's also not like they fully put the kid gloves on because they still reference like they talk about killing a kid and
Sure.
there's like not a single moment of like hesitation of like they're like, no, we're gonna kill this kid.
Yeah.
This baby. And then there's like later on they were talking about like using the love interest against Hercules.
Right.
Or perhaps the love interest being seized by a centaur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting a little centaur squeeze.
There's a lot of places where they could have like been a little more goofy,
Yeah.
and they chose not to. They still kept it relatively straightforward and grounded.
I don't know. Like it's really interesting what they chose to gloss over from ancient mythology.
I understand
Okay,
why
all
they
right.
did. I understand why they did. Well, let's learn a little bit about this movie and how it came about. Hercules was released on June 13th, 1997. It was directed by John Musker and Ron Clements. It's written by Musker and Clements, Donald McHenry, Bob Shaw, and Irene Mecci. Lots of screenwriters on this one. It stars Tate Donovan, James Woods, Danny DeVito, Susan Egan, Bobcat Goldthwait, Matt Frewer, Samantha Eggers, Hal Holbrook, and Rip Torn as Zeus. Now, production on this film began back in 1992, technically, although at the time it was going to be a very different adaptation of a classic Greek story, in this case, The Odyssey. That was going to be the movie that they were making, but after a few months of pre-production, it was clear that The Odyssey, which is a sprawling, multi-character epic, was going to be a little challenging to adapt into a cohesive animated
Do you
film.
think Nolan's Odyssey's got a chance in hell?
Oh, it's going to be the biggest movie of the year. I think
Is that
it's,
what he's working on right now?
that's
Yeah,
coming
that's
out this
coming out this
summer.
summer.
It's like shot entirely for IMAX. It's just going to be like, this is him. Like he was already kind of like a blank check director, and now he's a blank check director who is also an Oscar winner. So he basically has all the money in the world to make his version of the
I'm not
Odyssey.
saying
I
that
think it's going to be incredible.
You think it's going to be incredible?
Yeah. I'm not
so
like a pedant about it, though.
But I'm not a pedant about like historical movies. I feel like they either need to get the vibes of the original story or they need to get the vibes of the time, and preferably both.
Yeah.
But like I just worry because it's a weird story. The problem with a lot of the ancient myths and ancient stories is that that's not how we consume modern media. Like an epic.
You're going to need to take some liberties to make it cohesive.
Well,
yeah.
they're just like it's a series of stories. It's not one story, and so like that's the thing about that I just like, because like they can clearly do like really cool things with the Cyclops.
Yeah.
But like it's just like
Well, they
I don't-
showed the.
I can't. I'm
they-
not. I'm just. I don't know how it's gonna pan out. Like I hope to be surprised by it.
Here's the thing. I think this is going to be like the most movie-ass movie in years. I think this is like, I'm excited for this because it's going to be such a Hollywood production. It is a giant sword and sandals epic. I presume it's going to be 6.5 hours long. It's like every movie star in Hollywood is in this. They've got an unlimited budget, the biggest screens possible. I'm hyped. Like, even if it's bad, I kind of don't care. I'm there for the spectacle of it.
Like, do we know the main cast already?
Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson. Like it's like every big name in Hollywood
Sweet.
is going to be in
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal.
Do we have IMAX in Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do. If you want to see the
It's
Is
Uh,
7
it
million,
AMC or?
No, it's the Texas Museum.
yeah.
Oh.
If you want to see it in 70 millimeter, which they're also going to be releasing, me and Ailish went to see Oppenheimer in that format, and we had to drive to Dallas to do it.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah, they
thinking.
got rid of the 70 millimeter Alamo to
Yeah.
make the Joe Rogan's.
Oh, that was the Ritz.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Was the
I-
Ritz or was it a comedy mothership?
It was the Ritz.
It was the
No,
Ritz.
It's,
okay.
it's the Ritz. It's now Comedy Mothership.
Oh, I
it used to
see.
be Alamo.
Yeah,
Ritz.
I've seen. I've got to see some Tarantino in 70 millimeters
saw
there.
Pulp Fiction.
Milligrams.
Nice. Yeah, 70 milligrams. They just injected it right into your butt.
Yeah, I saw Pulp Fiction there, and it was
Nice.
that was not my first time seeing it, but I was like, this movie came out when I was not able to see anything, so I couldn't have seen this in a theater before.
And I think that theater was gone by the time I moved here, so I never got to experience it. But now I'm
I think so,
retroactively
yeah.
angry. I'm
'Cause
angrier
you're-
about it.
You're post-pandemic, right?
I was 22 when I moved here,
They
yeah.
also had a really cool
Yeah, the year was 22.
petite
It took me a second.
I was
film
40
festivals there. So
Yeah.
I went to this film festival called Noir City.
Oh,
And it
cool.
was just like I was in there and I watched like 4 back-to-back noir films, and
That's dope.
it was so much fun.
I kind of missed a lot of that because I wasn't really paying much attention up until kind of the pandemic. But my understanding is that the Ritz kind of had a lot of those like smaller fun events
Yeah.
compared to the other theaters. And now it's kind of shifted to South Lamar.
So,
But I feel like it still isn't quite as cool as it used to be.
all right, I'm reining in the Austin talk for the people not from Austin who need to know this. So yeah, this was originally going to be an adaptation of the Odyssey, but I think they realized they needed to narrow this down a little bit, focus on one protagonist, and kind of build a central story around it. And there's a long, long tradition of Hercules films. Most of them were low-budget European fare that existed mostly as cheap spectacle and as a vehicle to show off muscular bodies back in a time when the Hays Code was kind of preventing you from showing much nudity. But it did kind of provide a basic framework of what a Hercules movie could look like, and that's basically just like a superhero movie.
You're also forgetting Hercules, the legend continues.
Exactly, which wasn't happening yet. It was about to happen like right around this time. But same exact thing. It gives you an idea of what Hercules looks like. So it makes sense to build a movie around him. Disney execs brought in John Musker and Ron Clements, who were hot shit because they were just coming off of directing Aladdin, which at the time was Disney's most successful film ever. And the directors were considering a couple of different projects, including their long gestating pitch for a movie called Treasure Planet, which we will get to eventually. But they were drawn to Hercules exactly because they liked the superhero angle of it, and they wanted to do something a little lighter, a little funnier. And I imagine releasing Hercules in 1997 was a little bit of a strategic move to kind of offset 1996's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is a very, very good movie. It was critically acclaimed, had a decent box office, but I think the general consensus among like kids and parents is this is too dark, too serious, too kind of nasty. Like, I don't know. I think we will cover that movie eventually.
I think it's on the list.
I think so. It's a really unique film for the Disney canon, like because it is like crazy dark.
What year
It's
was it?
so like
96.
the villain in Hunchback is
He's
so
a creep. Yeah.
he's such a real life villain.
It's
That's
a movie
one-
with a lot of like religious trauma and like body shaming. Like it's a dark ass movie. And the one before that was Pocahontas, which is also very straight faced and very serious. And before that it was The Lion King, which kind of split the difference. But
Yeah. I know I've seen Hunchback, but I have very little recollection of it. Other than I think he lives in a clock tower.
yeah, he lives
Okay.
in Notre Dame. Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Notre Dame,
You
excuse
know
me.
what?
Yeah, he's that one. He's that hunchback.
I thought it was the American sports team.
And this could have easily been a thing with Hercules. You easily could make a very serious, like kind of grim Hercules movie because Greek mythology could get
It's
pretty fucked up.
grim.
Yeah.
Well, and the story of Hercules is very grim.
So yeah, the writers had to do some kind of gymnastics with this story a little bit. This is obviously a very, 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 very loose adaptation of the Hercules myth. In the original, like a good example here is that in the movie, Hercules loses his powers because like Hades is like siphoning it off of him and leaves all but like a drop. So he's just got like barely a little bit of godlike power, but it's enough. In the original mythology, Hercules is a demigod because Zeus fucked a mortal woman, like, and he was like cheating on Hera, and so Hera
As he did every moment of his life from my understanding of his story.
Pretty much. The guy's a
That
slut.
was Zeus's whole deal.
He would turn into a goose because, like, what woman could resist a
Swan.
goose?
Swan.
I know.
It wasn't a goose, it was a swan.
Oh, you don't know the story about Lita and the goose?
It's Lita and the swan.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Lita and the goose.
No, it's Lita and the swan.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know. I don't know if you knew this, but swans have penises. Goose do not.
Well, let me read an excerpt from the original myth. This is by Homer. Honk, honk, said the goose. Oh, mama, said Lita. Let me get in on that honker. And they copulated, and thus they
Putting
created,
an end.
and thus they created Mercury.
No, Lita was
The planet.
mother of Helen.
I'm pretty sure my version
Of
was
Troy?
right. It was on the
Yes.
internet. Yeah.
Oh, wait, really? I was making
Yeah,
a
she's
dumb
half
reference.
goose. You didn't know that?
Hey, you know what? Apparently she looked good.
She looked good enough. It's like, I will launch 1,000 ships to see that goose woman. And yes, I know it's a swan. I'm just irritating you at this point. But yeah, no, Zeus is a big old slut in mythology, and like it gets pretty dark. It gets pretty, honestly, like sexual assaulty. It gets pretty violent.
Yeah.
So you need to make a version where you can still kind of root for the gods in any kind of way and not get mired in all of the darkness. And I think it helped that they when
I
they
think
were
they made a
choosing-
lot of correct decisions if
Yeah.
you're Disneyfying this.
And
It's not like this is the first myth or fairy tale that Disney has Disneyfied.
Look, that's their thing. Absolutely. All the Grimm Brothers fairy tales were way darker than we remember as well.
Yeah.
But I think they also made the fun decision to. Their biggest influence to the tone of this movie was like Preston Sturges and Frank Capra. So like screwball comedies of the 30s and 40s. So like if you look at the character of Megara is very much like a Katharine Hepburn archetype, or like Rosalind Russell
Barbara
from His Girl
Stanwyck.
Friday. Barbara Stanwyck. She's like this icy, cool, like chip on her shoulder kind of broad, but who's got like a soft heart, like underneath all that hard exterior. Like it's one of my favorite archetypes in film. And Hercules is kind of given like a Henry Fonda, Jimmy Stewart kind
Do
of
you
like,
want to confess that she's your favorite? Meg is your favorite Disney princess?
Indubitably my favorite Disney princess. Oh my
I
God.
mean-
I want her to like yell at me.
Look,
I want her to call me a goose. No.
I was very quickly just like, she can just keep talking.
Look,
I like her voice.
It's the greatest
great.
voice. This is Susan Egan. She auditioned to be Ariel. She auditioned to be Belle. She auditioned to be Jasmine. She didn't get any of them, but then she got cast on Broadway playing Belle in the Beauty and the Beast stage show. I think she originated that character, and she's incredible. And I think they kind of built this character around her a little bit.
She had to audition a couple of times because they were like, "Oh,
they
no,
were
you're
like-
not a hard talking broad," and she's like, "What? Watch it." They actually made Alan Menken, I think, and the other guy close their eyes when she was auditioning.
That's great.
So that she had a chance.
Oh, I love it. I think it's such a great characterization. And, you know, shout out to Tate Donovan as well. He plays Hercules here. I think this is kind of continuing a Disney tradition where, like, your leading man is not necessarily, like, the biggest celebrity on the planet. Tate Donovan, I think at this time, he was kind of best known for dating Jennifer Aniston. Like, he was the guy that she was with before Brad Pitt.
if there was something to be known for.
Yeah, he did an arc on Friends where he played Joshua, like the guy that she had a crush on. Yeah, so he's around. Like, he's a very likable guy, but he's not like a superstar. When they were animating Philoctetes, they said, okay, I want you to draw him as a Danny DeVito type, and then we'll figure out who we cast later. And then it turns out Danny DeVito was available, and I think he's a lot of fun in this
He
part.
initially said no.
Yeah.
But they got him when he was on the set of Matilda and he changed his mind, which I'm just like, I can't imagine who else besides Danny DeVito would play this character.
Yeah.
And he puts in a performance.
He's having fun. He
Yeah.
sings. He has a whole musical number. He's really fun. But like, I think the hardest casting came with Hades, the villain in this movie. So originally, since this is a movie being made in the mid-'90s, the studio wanted Jack Nicholson. Every movie wants Jack Nicholson to be in everything at around this time.
Yeah, because that seems.
And he makes sense.
I
Look,
feel like
I don't
he's-
know. I've never liked Jack Nicholson.
I love Jack Nicholson. I get it. The man's got swag for days. But
I don't
like,
know if
yeah.
I've seen a Jack Nicholson movie. Like, I know who
Have
he
you not
is.
seen The Shining or like? And again, I think
Batman.
he's good in The Shining, and I think he's good in Batman. But so like
Terms of endearment?
some men just come across their sleaze just comes across across, no matter what they do.
That was always the magic trick of Jack Nicholson, is that like I think he's appealing because he seems like a guy who you should not get involved with. Every time. That's why this would have been good casting, because prior to this, in 1987, he played the Devil, Witches of Eastwick. In 1989, he played the Joker in
Which
Batman.
again, I like him in each Witches of Eastwick. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I just think he's just like, I would not want to work with him.
Yeah, I mean, you should not cross paths with him, but you still that's his charm, that's his charisma. So I get why they wanted him, but he wanted $15 million to be in this movie.
And 50% of merchandising.
They were offering him $500,000, so that was kind of outside of their range. They saw a couple of different other people for the role. Well, first of all, they cast John Lithgow, and they shot for like 4 months with John Lithgow's voice, and they were trying to animate to it, and they finally had to come to the realization where like, this just isn't right. This isn't the right performance. This isn't the right actor. This isn't the right character. And they had to go back to the drawing board. So
I have seen one Jack Nicholson movie.
Which one?
The Departed.
The Departed. Oh, yeah. He got wicked departed in that one. Yeah. A lot of different people came in to read for it. We got Phil Hartman, who I think would have been fun. Kevin Spacey, he would later get to be the villain in A Bug's Life. James Coburn would later get to be the villain in Monsters, Inc. And here's a really fun idea. They were talking to Robert Evans. If you don't know who Robert Evans is, he's the producer of The Godfather, Love Story. He was like the head of Paramount back in the 70s. And he wrote an autobiography called The Kid Stays in the Picture, which is still one of the most legendary Hollywood memoirs of all time. It's 1,000% bullshit, but if you're gonna engage with that book, get the audiobook. He reads it himself. He's got the most incredible voice. He's so like full of his own shit and so endearing. It's just an absolute amazing listen. So The Kid Stays in the Picture, highly recommended if you're into like old Hollywood stuff. But he was being considered. But then James Woods came in to read for the part, and the character finally fell into place. Now, here's where we have to have a little bit of a advance warning notification, whatever. James Woods, huge fucking asshole in real life. Big time Trumper, big time racist, misogynist,
no.
just like just an all around creep. I kind of love him as an actor. I always have. His big breakout was back in the 80s. He did the movie Salvador for Oliver Stone, which he's unbelievable in. He got an Oscar nomination. And he had a real, like, Oscar-y, or he had, like, a movie star run, like, throughout the mid-90s. I would say this is kind of, like, the far end of it. But he's incredible in this movie. I think when reviews of this film came out, almost every review was centering James Woods and saying, like, this is such an inspired take on this character. He's having kind of like his Robin Williams in Aladdin moment with this one.
And he did a lot of improv.
He improv'd a lot, and he loves the character. He keeps coming back for it. Like, he voiced the character on every episode of the TV show. He shows up in Kingdom Hearts, like, to play this card. Like, he shows up anytime, like, they need Hades. Like, he really enjoys doing this part. I mean, I'm not trying to glaze James Woods because he is kind of a creep. The one positive thing I will say that popped up about him in the news recently was when Rob Reiner died. When Donald Trump was saying all his horrifying shit about him, James Woods went on the news and said, like, me and Rob Reiner disagreed on every single thing politically. I still loved that man deeply. He was a wonderful, wonderful human being because they worked together in the movie Ghosts of Mississippi, which is James Woods' second Oscar nomination. And he's like, he stayed in touch. He stayed kind. Like, he never let our political differences get in the way. And he was always a nice human being, and I always love him. So that's a nice thing that James Woods did. I will give him that.
I think, so it's really interesting watching this movie because there's so much charm in this movie, especially with Danny DeVito's character. And I really think that, like, Danny DeVito, everyone knows that he's a legend, but he's just continued to work, and his work continues to be exceptional. Some people hate It's Always Sunny, but like, I feel like his work in It's Always Sunny, like, he keeps showing up year after year and just knocks it out of the park.
I mean, the man's pushing 80 if he's not in his 80s already, and he's still so sprightly and still kind of like up for everything.
Well, and there very few actors can play the clown as well as Danny DeVito.
And I just love I love it anytime like a non-traditional actor gets to be like a major movie star. Like
Yeah.
Danny DeVito is 4'10". He's completely bald. He's like almost a perfect
He's not
circle. He's
completely
got this
bald.
like crazy gruff New Jersey accent.
He only has
And
hair coming out of the side of his head.
And he's been a huge movie star since the 80s. Like, to this day, he's still a huge movie star. That just makes me happy.
And-
It just reminds me there's room for everybody.
And like the thing is, and like J-Man, you mentioned, like he can play the clown so well. He can play the clown so well, and at no point do you feel bad about it either. You're like, no, he is having a fucking blast doing this.
Because he's also a little bit of a weird little creep, you know?
He's a weird little dude. He
It-
does little dude things.
It was sort of his stock and trade, I think, ever since like Taxi or Taxi at the earliest, Romancing the Stone at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
His character on screen just became like hyper confident, like little guy who's like always kind of lusting after women, and they always like are a little bit on board with
Which
it.
is like which he plays actually in Hercules is this satyr that is very like flirtatious, and I think it's really fun. Like his portrayal of the satyr is so good in this.
And I've come to realize, and tell me if I'm off base here, but like more and more women in my life are more drawn to a Danny DeVito type than a Brad Pitt type.
Yeah, 100%.
Like a dear friend of mine claims her childhood crush was Bob Hoskins from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, 100%.
He's like 5'0" and like this like a little hairy British guy, but like she was all about it. I've heard Jack Black a lot.
Oh yeah, Jack Black is
ladies love like a weird little guy, like a charismatic little guy.
We love charismatic little guys. We like charismatic tall guys. We like guys who are not dicks.
Yeah.
And sense of humor is worth a billion points.
Absolutely.
Well, and like that's the thing about Danny DeVito is Danny DeVito plays creeps, but you never feel creeped out.
Exactly.
And
it's harmless.
And there's just something, there's a warmth to him that makes you feel comfortable while watching him act as a crazy person.
And it's
Which
also
he just does a lot.
he just does it a lot, and he's great. He's got. I wish I had his lack of self-consciousness. Like he's
Did
fully
you ever
himself.
become a It's Always Sunny fan?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen
Did
most
you
of
see,
it.
like the episode when he plays the art the art guy?
Oh, the Andy Warhol type.
Andy Warhol
Yeah,
type,
that's
and then
so
like
funny.
when he also crawls naked out of a couch.
Oh God, there's that whole episode that's just like entirely first person from his perspective. It's clever. They find some layers on that show, which I find really interesting. But I think one of the criticized elements of this, I think this movie was generally pretty well received. The Woods performance in particular was really well liked, but I think everybody was kind of like, yeah, this is really good. This is really fun. It's not, important capital D, like, big Disney movie, but it is a fun little confection.
So I have a couple of things to say about this movie.
Okay.
First of all, I really, really like this movie, but I also have criticisms of this movie. So I feel like the where it sort of dropped the ball to be an S tier Disney movie is like, so what they do a couple of times in this movie is that they interrupt songs. And it's
like with the distance, yeah,
so annoying. Like this is this is either a musical or it's not a musical, and it's in this weird in between phase. And then they have the muses, and sometimes the muses are playing a full song, and some like Zero to Hero,
yeah,
and sometimes they're just playing narration, and I feel like that's a real weakness to this movie is that the lack of variety and strength of songs in their entirety.
Oh, I disagree with that. I love the songs. I actually love that structure of like the muses kind of coming in and out because it reminds me of my very favorite musical of all time, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Which I think Alan Menken might have worked on.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So it feels like that. I love the really strange decision to make like the music inspired by like gospel and doo-wop because it's not a
I like
natural
th-
fit
so
for
I-
that, but it really works. It
So I
shouldn't.
really liked the musical choices. Like I like the songs. Like I listen to the songs all the
I think
time.
the soundtrack rules.
The soundtrack rules, but I just feel like there's not enough like compared to the Disney S tier. Like I feel like that's a definitely thing where they drop the ball a little bit. And I want to say something else that I love that I've seen criticism of, and they can go fuck themselves. I love the animation style. In this.
That's the thing that
Yeah.
got most knocked when this movie came out
Really?
was because the big criticism was that the animation looked a little cheap and maybe looked like a little made for TV. And I think they're just kind of comparing it to like Hunchback was the year before this, and that was the first Disney movie that started really heavily integrating like CGI elements with hand-drawn stuff. Like they did it a little bit in Aladdin, a little bit in Lion King, but that's really heavily used in Hunchback. And I think they were expecting more of that.
Well, I think so. What I read were a couple of different things. Which so one is that it lacked imagination. Like Olympus was just a cloud with ionic pillars.
Great.
Which I'm like,
As opposed to Doric or Corinthian pillars.
which I educated
These
Steve
nerds were
about.
talking about earlier.
It's the one thing I retained from college. Literally the only thing I've retained is the difference between Ionic, Doric, and Corinthian columns, and it is useless in my day-to-day life until today.
Anyway, I do think the backgrounds could have been a little bit better, but the foreground and the genius of incorporating ancient Greek statuary as into the character design. Like Meg is designed to look like a vase,
Yes.
and to look like the women on vases, but also being a contemporary cartoon. And I just think that's a stroke of genius.
And it turns out I'm
love
very
it.
attracted to vases. Yeah, I didn't know that before watching this movie.
And it's a
but
good
yeah.
thing there's none in this house.
that there's a reason. Yeah. No, I think the animation style, like I love that this is a movie kind of in the height of the Disney Renaissance that really isn't taking itself too seriously.
So, and like, well, also I said my criticism earlier of breaking up the songs. The
Yeah.
songs themselves slap. Like Going the Distance is so good. And
I've
so,
auditioned for that multiple times. We're with that song, yeah, multiple times.
which means that I'm gonna make you sing it at karaoke someday.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna crush it. Guess what? I'm gonna crush it. And then, like, I think Meg's song, and this is one of my favorite Disney songs. Period. Like,
yeah, no, of
I
all
Won't
time,
Say
it's an
I'm in
all-timer
Love.
great song.
And it's such a great character moment for her too, where she's just kind of like playfully in denial that she has feelings for Hercules. You know, like it's cute. It's very cute.
And I will
it's
say
fitting.
the other criticism that I do see of this movie is that I don't believe that there's as easy story arcs in this film as in other things, because Hercules, like he doesn't have this big overpowerful, like he wants to be a god, but it's kind of like it's a bullshit want, you know what I mean? It's
A little bit.
Yeah.
He doesn't really learn anything. He's just a strong guy that ends up being strong.
And it winds up being like a reluctant celebrity narrative, really, because, and this is kind of accurate to how Hercules was perceived back in the day. Like he was always a story, but it was kind of like the popularity of like Spider-Man or Batman in our culture. You know, he was this big mythological figure that people actually bought merchandise of, you know, like that wasn't an exaggeration. Obviously they didn't do like drink cups or action figures or anything, but
They didn't have a Hercules soda?
they didn't
What?
have a Hercules soda as far as
So
none that
do you know
survived
what are
anyway.
the key characteristics of looking at an ancient Greek person or an ancient Roman god and knowing that they're Hercules?
I don't know. What is this?
He's wearing a lion skin,
The Nemean lion. Okay.
and he has a club.
Oh, what's the club from?
The club, he beat he beat a monster to death because
Oh.
he couldn't. I can't remember which one he was on the
Okay.
12 labor. Yeah, Hercules. Traditionally, like I think Hercules is one of the greatest tragedies, and like I've thought about writing my own Hercules spin because Hercules murders his family. He murders
It's
his
crazy.
family, and then he has to reconcile the murder of his family whilst he's lost his mind. So he's a very early example of sort of like being of schizophrenia, like in. Granted, in the myth, it was Hera who caused the schizophrenia.
Right.
But he's like this very early example of mental illness, and like that broke and he killed his children and his wife, and then he had to do the 10 labors of Hercules, and like
Which
it's
are kind of glossed over in this movie. You see him in a montage, but like you get to see him doing it. But yeah, I agree. It's a very dark character on paper, and I think this is very much reacting to like the pop culture depiction of Hercules as kind of a Superman type, right? Like this is I could agree like I could agree with that as a criticism in like Hercules is not a super well developed character here. He's just kind of like a generic good guy, which is never that fun. Like it's one of those movies where like the main character is the least interesting character in the movie.
Yeah, Meg is such a more interesting character. When she is on screen,
Yeah.
she is riveting.
And
love
she has
her.
like actual growth and development.
Yeah, exactly. And Hades is super fun, and it's just like a real snarky, like 90s guy kind of portrayal of this character.
Made me
But it
think-
also misrepresented what Hades is in the mythology, right? Hades is
Yeah.
not like an evil character inherently.
Oh, it's complicated.
It's complicated, but it's also like
he's
he
not
is-
inherently evil, but he's done some shady stuff, like the abduction of Persephone.
Yeah, exactly. But like the nemesis of Hercules in the stories was always Hera. Like Hera, which is his stepmother, who is angry about him and jealous because he was born of like a mortal human woman,
Yeah,
and that's
she tries to
just
kill
not
him
an element here.
multiple times.
Yeah, exactly.
She seemed like such a good, happy parent in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they portray her very, very pleasantly, you know. And but I mean, I just love the sprightly kind of buoyant energy that this movie has. And I disagree with the animation like limitations, because like we get some great CGI moments with like the Hydra battle and like the Titans at the
The
end.
Hydra
of the
battle
movie.
was really fun.
It's
like,
fun.
Like I could have I know they would have this would have bloated the runtime, but I could have seen Hercules fight a little bit. Like I know they did most of it in a montage, but like I was just like I would have liked to have seen him beat more monsters and like have his
Yeah.
like because I am obsessed with Heated Rivalry. Every time they bang, it progresses the story. Every time you could have seen Hercules defeat a monster, it could have progressed the story instead of like just being in a montage. Like I'm
Yeah.
not saying I have to see all 10 labors of Hercules, but like it would have been time to develop him, because he's always this strong character. To really see him like wallow in self-doubt, I think would have been a little bit beneficial.
And the whole point of like the first half of the movie is for him to like learn how to be a hero and like grow into being a hero. And he's the same person the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't become more clever. He doesn't like seem a little more seasoned. He just seems like the exact same character throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I could have seen the satyr be like a Pai Mei type of character and like hit Hercules upside the head and like makes him learn like they did in Kill Bill.
Sure.
Volume 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different elements they could have gone with. I mean, this movie is like a tight 90 minutes.
It is.
with
It
credits.
just sails
it's
fast.
Real, it's in and out, and like I think that kind of fed into the perception that this was like a featherweight, you know. And I think this movie came out and it made $99 million, which was not embarrassing, but it did have like Disney shareholders kind of clutching their pearls, because every other Disney movie for the 90s had made over $100 million. This was the miracle run of like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then like
This was Alan
Hercules
Menken's
is a
last,
bit of a combo breaker.
last film, wasn't he? Do you know if he was doing okay or
I don't know exactly. I know the lyricist David Zippel, he would work on the next Disney movie, which is Mulan, which I think also has really underrated songs.
I love Mulan.
And then after that, it's Tarzan, which is like again going back to like more serious, more violent, more edgy. So like, I think it's one of those movies that feels better in retrospect, because now that we've seen like that the brand survived and that they kept doing their serious thing to like great acclaim and all of that, it's fun that there's this like really light, entertaining comedy in the middle of all these like kind of heavy prestige movies.
And I don't think all Disney movies need to be prestige
No.
S-tier movies. Like this movie is slaps. This movie is really good.
It's so fun.
I'm a little obsessed with the word slaps, and it makes me feel young, like the Gen Zs.
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah.
wait,
Like
the
the
alphas.
Gen Zs.
Do you feel like you're
Oh.
perhaps on fleek?
That's real old. That's
What are you talking about? I'm getting jiggy right now. Everybody can tell I'm really young and hip.
Dance Dance Revolution.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go with it. I have not played much DDR.
This is the worst.
I have not played much DDR. So Hercules, like I mentioned, was
I think there's a Dance Dance Revolution movie. We should do.
There absolutely should not be.
I will say
maybe
Dance Central. Is it Dance Central or Just Dance, the Ubisoft game? I think that
Just
plays
Dance,
a crucial role in the Emoji movie from a couple years ago, which is one of the worst things ever made. So you can count that. Oh, I just deleted all of my notes. I undid it.
Oh.
There you go. It's all done. Either way, so this movie made $99 million, like I said.
Can you
seen as a bit
control
of a
V on a
disappointment.
phone?
Can you what?
Can
Yeah,
can you undo?
Yeah,
You
there's
did.
an undo button. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's easy to
Where's
do.
the undo button?
It's in the top. Google Docs.
Oh,
on
on
your
Google
phone.
Docs. Of
I'm
course.
doing Google Docs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, this movie was not a huge hit, but predictably though, it became a huge hit on VHS and it had regular showings on the Disney Channel. I think it's still a very warmly remembered movie. There was at one point going to be a direct-to-DVD sequel that was going to be called Hercules 2: The Trojan War, but fortunately it was canceled in 2006. You remember there was this like trend for a couple of years where they would make like a direct-to-video sequel to like a big Disney movie.
Yes, it's still very popular. Only now they just put them on TV.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's kind of what Moana 2 is, right? Like in a lot of ways. But like it was a thing. John Lasseter, when he took over as COO of Disney in the mid 2000s, he kind of canceled this. So Hercules 2 never came into the light of day. But there was a
Good
TV
old-
series, like I mentioned. It ran 65 episodes. It was very well regarded. It was about young Hercules, like in his teenage years, and like I said, James Woods came back for the part. It's I don't know. I'm just kind of generally like so positive on this movie. I think it's just really sweet and really fun and really. It's got excellent music and it's
got a Pegasus.
It's got a Pegasus. We
It
didn't even
has a
mention the Pegasus.
Pegasus.
He's a great guy. He does headbutts.
I do love how we haven't mentioned Hercules' found family yet.
Yeah, I know because he
they
walked away from them and never came
They
back.
show up and they are shown to have been great parents to him.
Yeah.
However, he's been a difficult child to parent, mostly just because he can
He's clumsy.
throw anything and is clumsy.
Yeah, he's an awkward guy.
And so they're like, "We love you, but it's time to tell you we're not your real parents." And he's like, "Oh, cool. I'm going to go check out the statue of Zeus and try to communicate with my real dad." And then he never goes back.
No, that's not true. He sees them later on. He builds a palace around their house.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
And then
Okay.
he sees them later on in the movie.
All
He
right.
sees them like 3 times.
Does he? Okay,
Yes.
I always miss it. It's always like kind of in montage. We never.
He has a very good relationship with his adopted parents.
They're very nice. They're very nice old people named Amphitryon. I just like that name. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm
You
just.
should rename one of your animals Amphitryon.
Ooh, I'm going to rename all 3 of them Amphitryon. Yeah.
See, I think Gunter matches a little
Gunter's
too much.
closer. He's like a grouchy old man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Well, let's move on to talk about the game here.
Well, before we move on, I just want to say that it's so interesting about how this, like time is a flat circle when you talk about like Superman and Hercules and like the adoptive parents and like the found family and because this is basically, I feel like this is an excuse for Disney to do a Superman movie.
Kind of,
because with like Meg is very much a Lois Lane type of character,
Very much.
and I'm here for it. I'm just saying, I just wanted to point that out.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that is exactly what they're doing. It does feel, in a lot of ways, kind of like the Christopher Reeve Superman. Just a very like aw shucks kind of like country boy hero, but who just happens to have superpowers. I think that's absolutely something that they're drawing from.
Never seen a Superman movie.
Oh, interesting. Never any Superman movie, even the newest one. Okay.
I've seen one Batman movie.
Okay. Which one?
Well, you'll get to
The
at
Dark
least the
Knight.
Batman one.
Yeah, we're going to cover a lot of Batmans on this show. Yeah, we'll be
I
getting
just
to
like
them.
the whole DC universe was like never. Because like my parents also didn't watch movies.
Yeah.
and so like I didn't get like any historical or like legacy movies out of them.
Oh, sure.
It was all just like stuff that I saw that came out during my lifetime. That they begrudgingly took us to.
Okay, hot take. Let's talk about what do you think is the best song? Zero to Hero, Meg's Song or Going the Distance.
This is my first time ever seeing it, and I listened and enjoyed the music, but my brain didn't stick any of it.
Okay.
Only because it's not Hoobastank.
Yeah. If Hoobastank performed these,
That's the reason.
that's the reason. The reason is you. The reason is you.
Thank you, Steve.
Anytime. That's the one thing I know about Hoobastank. I almost called them Scuba Tank just now. That's how little I know about them. No, I think the music rules. I'm personally like, I think Meg's Song is the best in the show, but Going the Distance is like, I've performed, like I said, I've performed that a lot because it's right in my range.
So like this is obviously Alan Menken, like classic Little Shop of Horrors with the chorus, and I thought it was really cool that they did a chorus in a Greek show.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really fun, and like and I definitely felt like there was a lot more, like I don't feel like he was recycling things from Little Shop.
Yeah.
And like it just felt really fresh and like awesome. But it was like the play between Meg and the Muses is so much fun.
It's so much
like
fun.
she's just so it's so
Which
good.
song is this for?
This is for Meg's Number, where they're like doing the background, where she's like,
I won't
she's
say I'm in
insisting.
love.
Okay, yeah.
And then in the background, who you think you're kidding? He's
Yeah,
the stars
I'll
of
say
heaven
that
too.
that's the one that I think stuck the most, because to me, again, like you kind of mentioned,
It's most like Hoobastank.
Yeah.
It's the Hoobastankiest.
It was like the most interesting character moment,
Yeah.
basically, of like seeing somebody struggling with like their feelings and actually like,
Yeah.
it was the most real of the characters.
Yeah, and there's no, as far as I remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
I will.
like Hades doesn't get a bad guy song.
He doesn't. No. I think there might have been one that was cut, but like he does not get like a But James Woods is not a singer. So
Yeah, it
it's
seems
fine.
like there probably could have been a few more minutes of Hades throughout, but
Yeah.
But honestly, there's this weird world where this movie, it takes place in the same universe as Lion King, and Hercules killed Scar.
Yeah, they're implying that Scar was the Nemean lion, which is a fun little joke. Like he's wearing him as a skin at one point.
So
which is really
after
fun.
Scar is thrown off a cliff,
Yeah.
he goes to Greece.
So now we know when that movie was set. Yeah, exactly. We have
or
an
Hercules
idea.
traveled.
Or Hercules traveled. Yeah, he could have gone.
What sounds more realistic, a person that could potentially use a boat traveling, or a lion?
A lion.
A lion. A lion uses a boat
There
every
used
time.
to be lions all over the place.
Oh yeah,
She's not a lion.
she's not. She's simply not. And the reason is you. All right, let's talk about this game.
This game is spectacular.
Hercules.
So
It's sometimes
fun.
called Hercules the Action Game. It was released in summer of 1997. It's developed by Eurocom, published by Disney Interactive, and we can find it on the PC, on PS1, and on Game Boy. We played the PC and the Game Boy versions. This is kind of falling into one of my favorite little mini subgenres of video games, which is the 2.5D platformer. Around 96, 97, this was a very popular thing because the video game industry was kind of transitioning from one to the other. We had the 16-bit side-scrollers of the Super Nintendo era, and now we were entering into the PlayStation, Sega Saturn era where we had a little more 3D capabilities, but we didn't quite know what a 3D game looked like. This game is coming out right smack in the middle of it. So what we get is like 2D sprites walking around in a 3D environment where you can occasionally move into the foreground and background. And I don't know why. I know, like, even like 30 years later, somehow this just feels a little bit like a magic trick to me. It's always like one of my favorite
So
things.
charming.
Like, I don't know if either of you played a kind of obscure PS1 game called Tomba, but this reminds me of that. There are a lot of Sega Saturn games that this is the exact same thing. It's like, it's just a really fun conceit, and I like that it's kind of the bridge between these two eras of video games. But
Yeah,
as in tradition with Disney adaptations, this is a rock solid like action platformer that's got way better graphics, way sharper gameplay, and way more fun than it
It's
should.
cheeky and fun and like entertaining. It's so good.
And you had to jump like hell in this game, and you were having a great time.
I was having a great time.
Yeah.
And we were playing it on a modern PC, but it looked fantastic.
It looks great.
It looked so good, the colors and everything. It looked very nice.
It's got the very beautiful animation style which I discussed earlier, which I love. I love the way that they drew the centaurs
Yeah.
and the satyrs and the the way they incorporated ancient Greek ruins into the obstacle courses. It's just so much fun. And like this is like one of the few games that like I was just like, Steve was like, let's record, and I was like, fuck off.
Yeah. Literally at one point we traded off, and you're just like, I want to play a little bit more. And like you had me look up passwords to like play advanced levels, and
we'll talk about the Game Boy game at some point. But we were passing around the Game Boy while playing, and at one point while I was playing, J-Ban basically demanded the controller. Giving me back the Game Boy.
She's like, you play this bad one. I want to play the good one again.
This. I want to do this. And so it does a thing that some games from especially like kind of this era do, where you don't get all of the levels on the starting difficulty. You have to play the next difficulty to do the later levels, and then again you have to go to the highest difficulty to finish the game. We played through all of the standard difficulty. I think maybe we missed like one
most
level.
Of it. We skipped around a little bit, but like J-Ban at one point was just like, I wonder if there's a Pegasus level, and then I looked ahead and it's like, sure as hell there's a Pegasus level, and it's like a side-scrolling shooter, and it's a lot of fun.
I think we were at like level 4 or 5 at that point.
We got pretty far. So, we got pretty far on this game. It looks like the playthroughs, most of the playthroughs I saw online were about an hour and a half long, so not a super long game. It's not terribly challenging. But I don't know. I have a great time with these games. There's something to be said for just like a competently made action platformer.
Well, and it was even better than some of the other Disney ones we played, because I had a great time with Tangled, but this game was definitely better than the Tangled game.
Simpler,
It was there was more stuff going on, more interesting world building. Just like it was really fun.
You get a nice bit of level variety, because like you get a side-scrolling level in one, and then the next level it's a 3D like behind the back like chase sequence where you're dodging obstacles and like jumping over pillars and stuff like that.
And they also you fight a Hydra, something not in the movie. You fight Medusa. And it was
got my ass kicked by a centaur.
Centaur, and the Cyclops, like, and then all culminating in a big battle with Hades, like. It's just kind of like an effortlessly fun game. Like this is the kind of thing you would expect from like the heyday of like the Disney animated games, but it feels like it's bridging the two eras in a way that's really unique and fun.
And the version that we were playing again on PC had very smooth animations. Everything just looked and played so smooth. As opposed to the Game Boy game.
The Game Boy game was a weird beast. So again, talk about kind of an inopportune time to try and release a game like this. 1997, we're in an era now where PS1 is now the dominant like video game console, but for handhelds, original Game Boy is still kind of the only show in town. Game Boy Color wouldn't even be out for another year, which is like kind of a modest upgrade. And then I think we get the Game Boy Advance by like 2000. But it's still kind of in this weird in-between point. So it feels weird to be playing a game on the original Game Boy from 1997. It feels like the whole industry has moved past it. And that's kind of the difficult position that it's in. So we have a conflict going between like how much animation do we want to have on this character versus how much mobility should we allow him to have. And I think they opted in the wrong direction. I think this character is very well animated. He's got like a lot more motion and a lot more detail than you would expect for an original Game Boy game. He looks more like
Hercules from Hercules: The Legend Continues.
It's Kevin Sorbo coded for sure.
And he is slow as hell.
It's slow as hell. Like every time you need to climb up on a brick, it's like a whole animation and you need to time it out that way. It's a lot of vine climbing. It's a lot of like low impact, like sword stabbing. It's just very slow, it's very floaty, and it's just kind of awkward.
It didn't seem super difficult.
No.
It just seemed super uninteresting because, again, like the animations are relatively fluid, but like a sword swing takes like 2 seconds.
Kind of doesn't feel worth it.
Climbing up a cliff almost feels like 3 seconds. You just walk at a very slow pace. Like you are kind of strutting a little bit. You're not really getting anywhere. And it was just so boring. I don't think we finished a level.
I think we just didn't really get engaged.
And it's Eurocom developed the PlayStation and PC version, and then Tiertex
I did not.
Game Boy version?
Not only had I not heard of that developer, I couldn't make out the writing on there, so I couldn't really tell exactly what company made this. But yeah, it was pretty inferior. But this PS1 PC version is pretty excellent. I think you were saying, Justin, that like the Steam version of this has been delisted.
Yeah.
So like I had it coincidentally, but like apparently you can't really get it off there.
Yeah.
I think you can still get it on GOG or like one of those older platformers.
Yeah,
but
there was like a little bit of hubbub because a few games from the 90s got delisted at the same time.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, what? You know, it was like, well, it's
but the fact
multiple
that people,
companies and rights and stuff. I'm like, it's fair that something happened and they didn't continue the licensing for it or whatever. But yeah, it was readily available up until I believe like the beginning of this year.
I mean, and the fact that people still care that they're not able to access this game tells you that, you know, there's a fan base for it. I thought it was rock solid, a super fun game.
We'll
So we didn't get into it. Sorry to interrupt, but I was distracted.
That's okay.
So a couple of things. The Hercules property is a little bit of a hot property at the moment. They did just open Hercules the musical on the West End.
Based on the Disney one?
Based on the Disney, which is interesting that they didn't choose Broadway, but they chose the West End. And that Guy Ritchie is allegedly attached to, was first Guy Ritchie and then the Russo brothers, and now I think they're having a bit of a battle.
To do like the live action Disney
do
remake.
the live action.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was something that I saw when I was we'd already moved to the game, and I was like, wait, what? They're doing this? Why?
I mean, I will shout out a. I don't want to like name drop or anything because I don't actually know this person, but he's a friend of the show. He's writing for the Hercules comic book right now, the Disney Hercules comic book released under Dynamite. Elliot Kalin, who's a great podcaster and TV host. But yeah, he's writing for that. So
nice.
Yeah, it's really solid. Like, so the franchise still has some juice. Like, it still has some people who like it and want it. I do not want to see a live action remake of these because I've hated every single one of those.
Quick sidetrack question: is Dynamite like a big company for comics?
No, it's like a lower tier.
Okay.
I would argue like Marvel and DC being one tier, and then I would say Dynamite is kind of on the level of like Valiant and maybe Image.
They have some James Bond comics too.
Yeah, those are okay.
I have.
I've read a few.
And they were also pretty chill, and I was like, oh, okay. Their website felt exceptionally archaic.
Yeah,
but,
they're scrappy. Dynamite is scrappy. I have an affection for Dynamite, but they're not usually seen as like the A tier of comic publishers. But like,
I'd never heard
cares?
of them, and then a friend gifted me one of the James Bond comics, and I was like, oh, this is super cool.
I might be mistaken in this, but I believe Boom Studios is a subsidiary of them, and they do like the Sonic the Hedgehog comics and all of those things. So
Dynamite and Boom.
Dynamite and Boom
Hell
makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Love it.
Well, let's move on to our rankings. Is this a good movie, good game, bad movie, bad game, or somewhere in between? J-Ban, this was your choice, so go ahead and lead us off.
I really like this movie. I don't know whether or not I should call it great, but I'm going to call it great.
Yeah, it's your show.
Great movie.
That was a quick decision.
I was like, I really enjoy this movie. This movie is really fun. It's not like S tier Disney for me, but it's still like I feel like it's underrated. I feel like there's so much, and it's really funny that you said I don't generally like the live action remakes, but I feel like the live action remake of Hercules could address some of the problems in theory of that I think could solve the problem. But
so
then
we'll see Zeus turn into a goose. We'll see the Zeus goose. You're really excited for the Zeus goose?
Anyway.
And for Lita to seduce the Zeus goose?
Somebody might get.
he also turns into a cow.
And a golden rain. Which I always just assumed was pee, right? Like, he's just a golden rain. He's just peeing on people.
To be gold coins.
It was golden rain, though, right? Am I crazy? I never mind.
Maybe. I mean,
either way, I cut off your recommendations there. What do you think?
Anyway, the game is spectacular. It's so much fun. It's such a delight. So I'm going to say great movie, a delightful video game, and then the Game Boy game is atrocious. It's trash. It's absolute trash.
And Justin, as a newbie to this franchise, where do you come down?
Yeah. I also thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that the drawbacks that we've mentioned, none of them were like sins. None of them were major. It was just like thinking about it afterwards. You're like, yeah, I wish it would have had a little more like character development and stuff. I think it was super fun. I loved Danny DeVito's performance. He put so much heart into that,
Absolutely.
like as he always does. The music was fun. Both the songs and the background music, animation was great. Super fun. I think the PlayStation and PC game was good, very good. Probably pretty high up there based on what all we've reviewed so far.
Honestly, yeah.
And the Game Boy game, forget it existed.
Yeah.
Just don't think about it ever.
I'm on the same page. Like, J-Ben, you keep saying this is not S-tier Disney, but if I'm making a list of my personal favorites, this one is way up there. I think this movie just grows for me over time. I love how, I think it's a confection, and I think it's a really delightful one, and I love it for that. Music is underrated and really stunning, and I love the animation. I love everything about this movie. I think it's a delight, and I had a blast with the game. This is one I am actually going to go and play the entire thing because I've got it, and why not? It's not going to take too much time, and it's really charming and really fun. So big recommends all around for Disney's Hercules. I think this one kind of knocked it out of the park. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, J-Ben, for the choice. And now control cedes back to me, and I get to pick something random to make you guys play. Mwahahaha. And I think it is time to finally talk about a little movie that kind of means less to me as a movie than it does as anything else. And what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, you will find out what it means because we're talking about 1994's Stargate.
Oh my God!
Talk about Stargate, a movie I've seen maybe twice in my life and don't really have an opinion on.
I've seen this movie like 20 times.
I have played this video game 100 times. It is one of my childhood games, and I love it.
I've seen this movie multiple times too because my cousin was really big into Stargate.
Wait,
and at one point I borrowed the disc.
Okay, we will save it for that.
I'm not. That's it. That's
But I'm eager to see where we all come down because I'm a little softer on this movie, but I'm a really big proponent of this game. So Stargate next week. We will see you all for that one. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.